Welcome, friends, to the Beaver Dam, and yeah, we're gonna be talking about how to cheese the pirate feat for defeating winning with a full squad of pirates 10 times, whatever it's called. And there's one key to this, and unfortunately it is a little out of reach for some people, but it is the Quiggold. We're using Quiggold at gear 12, and if you can get yourself a gear 12 Quiggold, you can basically take this down every single time. As you can see here, it is pretty data disk dependent on the fact that, he's surviving this, meaning that we have a protection shield. So we'll go over the data disks in just a moment, and the modding that we use for Quiggold to make this work. But yeah, this is just kind of a basically you're ramping up damage data disks with a protection recovery data disk. That's all this is. The extra pirates are just be there to give a leadership ability to him. This is no Zetas. There are no Zetas here in this right now. This is simply just letting Quiggold do his thing with the stuff he already has. He already hits like a train, and he already, is dealing damage. I will warn you, this only works up to about 70% stamina, and so you're going to want to wait in between staminas. If you don't have Pirate King Hondo and you have a Gear 12 Quiggold, great. If you have a Relic Quiggold, great. You're going to do this even easier. If you don't, maybe consider bringing Quiggold up, and I'll show you why. You saw how fast those guys died off. They're really not here to do much. The only thing they really do is I'm using Weak Spot right now as one of my ways to ramp, and so because of that, we want to be able to get as many debuffs on our team and their team as possible to ramp up faster. And so that's really the only thing that we're doing there with our other guys, is they're just to sit there, take some hits, get some debuffs, maybe get a couple extra attacks to Quiggold to let him ramp. But as you can see here, we're already at the point where we're almost one-tapping their whole team. And so yeah, this works. Now I will warn you, I did have to remod because of the fact that I was not dealing enough damage, because I initially had this so he could survive the whole 5 minutes, but he wasn't dealing enough damage even with the ramping, and so I had to give him an offense set, and that is what pushed us over the edge to do this. And this was even like this video you saw at the beginning. We started it out with like 3 minutes to go, so this still works. And hey, look at that. That was actually my last battle. I didn't actually realize that was my last battle. But yeah, so all you need is a Mon Mothma node, so you're not getting dealt a ton of damage. These should be pretty easy to find. A lot of you may have not gotten through Conquest already, so hey, hopefully you're keeping an eye out for this. And this is a kind of a bad node for Mon Mothma. There's some better versions that have less turn meter that work pretty well. Now, the data disks is going to be the big thing that judges whether or not you can do this. Sorry, didn't realize my phone's ringer was on. So when it comes to the data disks, you're going to want solid intel, so that way you're getting the turns that you need to deal that damage. That's one of the biggest things here, is solid intel. Now, do you need the 12%? I don't think so, not really. I think mostly this one is just you need a solid intel. Now, with protection shield, I do think you probably should use a 15% protection shield, one of the blue protection shields. You might be able to get away with 10%, but like with the green one, but a blue protection shield is going to do best. If you don't find one, green protection shield might do the trick. You might only be able to do like 100% and 10% instead, and you might have to drop one of your mods from offense over to protection. That we'll show you in just a moment. We'll see. And as you can see with the rest of these, it's really just dropping on different stuff. So like heal over time, this is actually like a worthless one, honestly, and so I could drop this one. If you have an extra caustic emissions, that might help. And so you can see here we're using a weak spot to deal increased damage. There's not a whole lot of debuffs that we're doing. Most of those debuffs are coming from caustic emissions, are the ones that they're hitting us. Critical tactics, gain 5% offense stacking whenever we critical hit, and then ruthless offense is a great one to kind of finish it off regardless of the level. This is going to be a great one. I think the only one here that you would really need, the blue one, is the protection shield. If you get a green protection shield, once again, I think you could probably still pull this off. So things that you basically need: many ways to ramp damage, a gear 12 Quiggold, and then past that, you're just gonna have to mod your Quiggold a little bit. Sure, I'll use some crystals. As you can see, my guys are at 1% for this. Like, we could probably throw this in with just some random gear 1 pirates with Quiggold and still get the same result that we've been doing. These guys were at literally the bottom 10% of their stamina when I did that last battle. It is all Quiggold. Quiggold is the bro. Now, if you guys have some people to throw in here to take some hits just to get you some more extra debuffs on Quiggold, not a bad idea. It's not a bad thing. It just makes the battle go a little bit faster, but you really don't need anyone else. I do like having the Athano, the leadership. I honestly don't know what it does personally, but it just gives me some peace of mind just to be able to know that Quiggold is getting some benefit past what he's getting. And then with Quiggold, the modding, I don't have any Zetas, as I said. I do have his Omegas done. Let's see, is there any other part of this that is needed? If no buffs are stolen, all pirates gain defense up, protection up 50% for 2 turns. Not bad. So the Buccaneer one might not be bad. I do highly suggest I do highly suggest the basic, just because you can keep your other guys alive longer by stealing the taunt over and over again. It's nice, but honestly, I don't think you need either of these to pull this off at all. I think you are going to be completely fine just rocking what you have. Now over here, we want an offense set and a health set. I would honestly say a offense set and then either a health or a defense set. I think a defense set would also do the trick. We're using an offense, 6 dots, so that way we have a little bit more offense. But as you can see, we're beating it pretty quickly, so you might be able to do this with 5-dot mods pretty easily. Offense. Now, obviously, we're not looking at speed here. We don't care about speed. We've got the solid intel, so them hitting us is giving us all the turn meter we need. So we do not need speed. It's kind of like the Savage Opress in GAC. You don't need speed here. In fact, I actually prioritized getting a little bit more offense over speed here as I modded. Protection, and then of course offense. This was just a mod I just happened to have in my roster. I was like, oh look, a mod that's crap, but hey, it has extra offense and protection. It's still kind of garbage, but hey, I'll take that on him. Protection here, protection here. Now you can switch one of these to offense and it'll go a little faster. The problem I was running into is when I got down to about 70%, started to struggle. And then we got offense here. Now this is where we're talking about just, if you have a if you want to let your Quiggold go down a little bit more percentage wise, you could probably do it here. Or if you don't have the blue protection data disk, you can throw a protection here. So like, it seems like with the offense set, with the 6-dot offense mod, and then a couple little extra secondary offense stats where it's, that's 1% there. I've seen mods that are phenomenally better than this for the offense percentage. So whatever you happen to have, I think should be good once I switched away from full defensive modding like I was before, and threw in some offense into here. I feel like everything went really, really well. But if you are worried, you can always switch that arrow over to protection if you don't only have a green protection data disk. So that is how you do that. And like at that point, it's just Quiggold. Quiggold's doing all the work here. These guys are at 1%. Quiggold is the survivor. Quiggold is the guy taking the hits, and you can see his turn meter is flying, and like I can just hit auto on this, and like it doesn't really matter what happens. It's going to work. It's just gonna push through and do the stuff. So hopefully this helps you guys out. I've done this 10 times now. I'm impatient, so I've been using stems to just get my Quiggold back up, but you could do this over the course of a couple days and call it good, and you should have 0 problems. Like, you have a gear 1 Athano, it's fantastic. Throw him in here as the leader here, and then just, you know, let Quiggold do his work. And you can see here, Quiggold also is going to get some debuffs from the enemy team, which will help if you have a weak spot. So honestly, if you have like 2 or 3 weak spots and you got lucky, I only was able to find 1, but if you have like 2 or 3 weak spots, you might be able to go about this pretty quickly. The critical hit one that I'm using, I'm really appreciating, because all of his attacks are AoEs, so you can see here we're getting a critical hit every time. And with the solid intel comes with crit chance up as well as crit damage up, which does help here as well. Or sorry, advantage, I believe it is. Advantage and crit damage up. And then once you start getting them to the point where they're like low protection like this, each one of Quiggold's attacks is going to bring them back down underneath that 100% health. And so that one that we're, you know, getting more offense every time they lower below 100% health, we're going to be able to go ahead and just spam a whole bunch of damage, boosting really fast. And just like that, we have another run with Quiggold done. So it's not about relic levels, it's all about having a gear 12 Quiggold. Hopefully this helps you guys get through your conquest, get the red crate, because I'm honestly excited for the stranger. I don't know about you guys. Throw in the comment section, are you excited for the stranger? Because this is like, I don't know, in the midst of a lot of L's, I'm actually excited for the stranger, especially with it being a Star Killer lifter. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for giving a damn.